Character selection systems have been around for a while, but sometimes they're a little tricky to make inside Unreal Engine 5. But in today's video, I'm going to clear all that up, and I'm going to show you guys exactly how to make a character selection system, where we're going to blend from our player camera to the camera for our character select. We will make the UI for it. Then when you make a selection, it will blend back to your player camera with the selected character. Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name's Taken Grace, and this system was requested on my Request a System live stream. So if you guys are interested in joining the live stream, I stream every single Saturday, 11 a.m. Pacific time. You guys can check out the link in the description below there. It will take you to the Request System form, and you guys can request a system that I might make on stream for you. But if you guys want to become a better game dev and you are new to the channel, make sure you are subscribed to the channel and like this video, of course. All right, let's start working on our character selection system. All right, so we're inside Unreal Engine 5.6, and we are going to create this super awesome character selection system. So a couple of things, obviously everybody is going to be doing a character selection system slightly differently, so I will point out those differences kind of as we go. So what we're going to do here is we're going to use this as kind of like a stage, and then we're going to have the character stand there, and we're going to blend to the camera that's in this particular area, and then we're going to make a selection, then we're going to hit select character, then we're going to blend back to our regular player character, and that character's mesh is going to change to basically the character that we've selected. If you're doing like a main menu type of thing, I would probably do a separate level for that, to be honest. Yeah, create a separate level, you know, wherever you want your main camera and the level to be, and then if you go to character select, it's going to blend basically to this camera, right? So you can do this and put this in any other level, but I would only have one per level or per level stream or whatever, just so that you're only blending to one camera, because we're going to be using the get actor of class, and that only works if it's on the top, basically. Okay, and stick around for later in the video where you can learn how to get a 30-day free trial for Epidemic Sound. But let's get started here. So we're going to create our data first. So let's open our folder. Let's go into the third-person folder here, and we'll just make everything in here. So let's make a new folder called data. So this is going to be driven with data assets. I've been using data assets quite a bit in most of my recent tutorials and live streams. So if you don't know how to use data assets, that's fine. We're going to show you here today. So we're going to make a new blueprint class, and it's going to be down here. We're going to search for a primary data asset. Okay, if you guys are familiar with data tables are using a struct to populate the data in each of the rows of the data table. This is kind of like the same thing. So we're going to do PDA for primary data asset, and we're going to do character data. We need to open this up. You'll notice it kind of looks like a blueprint when we open it. The only thing you'll notice, there's no components or anything like that. Okay, this is just strictly data. So we're going to add some variables. We'll add the name of our character, and that'll be a name. We will add a ability, just, you know, some random word, you know, salad stuff that we're going to add in here. This will be a text. You're going to add a skeletal mesh, which will be obviously of type skeletal mesh. And the reason we're doing a skeletal mesh and not a static mesh is because ideally in this scenario, we want our characters to animate and have an idle animation and all that kind of stuff, which we can only do with a skeletal mesh, right? So I'm spelling skeleton, not skeletal. Skeletal mesh object reference, okay? And then lastly, we're going to make, we'll call it a thumbnail, okay? And that'll be a texture. We're going to compile the blueprints. All right, so once this is created, now we have everything set up for our data assets that we need, and now we need to create a data asset for each individual thing. So we're going to right click and go to miscellaneous, and we're going to select data asset right here. Okay, it's going to ask you to select a primary data asset for it to reference, so it knows what variables it needs to populate, and we're just going to say PDA character data select. Okay, and then we'll name this DA underscore Manny. Okay, we'll open up Manny. Now we can set Manny's name. Manny. Can't type today. I should move my keyboard over. Maybe that'll help. Manny's ability is Big Buff. All right. And then the skeletal mesh, obviously we're going to do the simple Manny. Okay. And then for the thumbnail, we don't have a thumbnail. We'll do that in a second here. So let's just make the other data assets. So we'll just duplicate Manny and we'll rename it to Quinn. Okay. And obviously we'll change this to Quinn. And I don't know, super speed. Like I said, this is just word salad for filling in some of the stuff. Super speed, right? You can have anything you want in these data assets, right? You can have any stats that they might have, anything you want to know about your character when you're selecting it. You can put all of that information in here and then set it, right? So, okay, and then, sorry, thumbnail or skeleton mesh, we're going to have Quinn simple. Okay, save, and then we'll do one more. This will be the ugly duckling of the group here because it ain't pretty. We'll call him TPP because that's what it is. We'll call it Oh Yeller. Oh Yeller. Might have to take Yeller back at the end of this tutorial. There we go. Okay, so his is T-pose. Because, yeah, anyways, here he is. Tutorial TT, third person player, whatever. The reason I'm joking about this is because we're going to be using the animation blueprint for Quinn and Manny, and that does not work for this mannequin. Because, yeah, you'll see. Okay, so those are all of our things, but for thumbnails, what we're going to do is we're just going to take our own thumbnails. We're just going to go to, we'll go to characters, mannequins, meshes, and we will open up Manny and Quinn. And using our trusty snippety snip key on Windows, which is holding the Windows, Shift, and S key. If I do that, I don't know if you guys can see it, but I can see it. Just take a little headshot of Manny. Okay, there's my little headshot of Manny. Do the same thing with Quinn on Mac. If you're on Mac, you can do something. I actually think it's the exact same thing. It's like Command Shift and S or something like that. But you Mac users would know that. Linux, I can't help you. I've never used a Linux. But yeah, however you do a screenshot. So yeah, we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna the other guy is an engine, I think. I'm just gonna type TTP or TPP. There he is. Hey, look, he has a nice. Oh, I zoomed right into his crotch. He has a nice looking face. He won't for long. Okay, so there's his headshot. Let's. I'm just gonna open my folder here. Yeah, so I just opened up my screenshots folder here. I'm gonna go back to content. New folder. We'll call it UI. We'll drag those 3 headshots in here. And we will just go to the asset actions, edit, selection, and property matrix. And we'll just ensure that these compression settings are all set to user interface 2D, and the texture group is set to UI. Okay, just make sure that's optimized for UI. Okay, so now we'll set all these. So TPP, obviously, we'll just type TPP in. Oh, we have to rename them. Pardon me. TPP, because I don't want to search screenshot. That's silly. Quinn and Manny. Okay, now we'll get all that going here. Perfect. And we'll just quickly do the other 2 now. And Quinn and Manny. Okay, so your data assets are now done. So now that you can do as many characters as you want, obviously, and just populate the data as you need. And then screenshots, you can either do that in your game if you want, or exactly how I did it, or you can have, you know, some special graphic or something for it. It's up to you guys. It doesn't really matter. Anyways, so we're going to create one more thing here before we start making the actual character selection thing. So first off, I'm going to move UI into third person because, yeah. And then once you've cleaned up once you've moved something, here's a little extra thing that people don't show you. So I just moved my UI folder to the third person from this, obviously. So that has created a redirector. So there's a redirector that exists inside content. So if stuff inside Unreal Engine is referencing the UI folder, it's going to come looking here. And it's going to say, hey, where are you? And this redirector is going to say, oh, look over there in the third person folder. And then it's going to say, oh, okay, cool, well, thanks, here it is. However, that it can cause some problems later, especially if you're working in a team, working in like revision control. Because it can create duplicate files. It can create, basically it can create a bunch of duplicate folders that like each member of the team is working on independently, and it can kind of cause some issues. So Epic actually cleans up the redirectors once a year, once everybody's on holidays, because you have to make sure that nobody's logged in to this. So obviously Christmas holidays is a good example. But if you're just working by yourself, all you need to do is, sorry, we have to go back to the base here, content, right click, and we're going to update redirector references. And that will clean up the redirectors. And now this is the new file folder of this, okay? So just a little secret for me. All right, so next thing we're going to do here in our third-person folder, make a new folder, call it Interfaces. Have that one already. Super cool. We'll go right-click, Blueprint, Interface. We're going to do a BPI underscore character select. Okay. Let's open that up. We will make a new function, and we'll call it send character data. The input for this will be our character data asset. Okay, and then of course we're going to get PDA underscore the character data. So anytime, if you're again unfamiliar with data assets, anytime you want to access the data asset specifically, you need to get the primary one, right? And then in each individual character, then you can set the individual data asset that's associated with them, right? So okay, that's all we need to do here. Nothing else interesting going on there, but let's start now on our character selecting thing. So Let's just make a new blueprint here in third person character. Blueprint class type actor. We'll call this BP underscore character selection. Okay, let's open that up. We are first going to add a skeletal mesh. Let's add an arrow because when we're placing this in the world, we want to know what direction it's facing. Okay, let's move that out a little bit. We also want a camera. So we are going to set a camera here. Camera. There we go. And make sure it's not parented to anything, please, because that will cause some issues. All right, so we're just going to set a skeletal mesh here to, let's drag this out here so we can see, so that we can set this up here. So we'll do Manny Simple. We're going to go to our viewport. So you can see the camera's all messed up. That's fine. We're going to add also on this skeletal mesh the animation class, which I believe is just this unarmed one. Yes, perfect. Okay, so we're gonna move this camera over here and rotate it 90 degrees for now, just to get it, you know, kind of into position here. Okay, next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna move this off to the side. We're gonna drag our character select into the world. So we can see that that arrow is doing literally nothing we want. So let's just rotate that and we'll move it again. Over here, perfect. Okay, so let's rotate this guy around. Okay, and the framing I'm kind of thinking of is we're going to put Manny on this side of the frame so that we can put our UI on this side of the frame. Okay, so going to do this. All I'm going to do is select the camera and move it in here on my other screen so we can see what's happening. Okay, so now we can just kind of frame him like that. Maybe just a tad closer. That looks pretty good. Maybe there's a lot of headroom on that frame, so we'll just do that. Okay, that looks pretty good. All right, after we've done that, let's create a couple of variables here. So first off, we need obviously all the characters data assets that we want to have in this character select. I would actually, maybe I did this a different way in my prep project, but I might do it the proper way. So create a game instance. So there's a couple ways to do this character thing where you can tell it what characters you want, because I'm sure you want to have it unlocked, right? Or unlockable characters or whatever the case is at some point. So I'm going to show you guys the proper way you should be doing this. Okay, so let's create a new blueprint class. And it's going to be a game instance. Okay, so normally the game instance is a C++ native class to Unreal Engine, but we can script some stuff into the game instance here. So, so we will call it GI game instance underscore our game. Okay, so now that we've created our game instance, we can open this. So the game instance is for persistent data across your game. So this is where you should be keeping all of your data that's going to be basically taken between levels. So like experience, items, all that kind of stuff. I would actually maybe keep items on your player and then send what items you have into the game instance before you change levels is probably how I would do it. But in this instance, we're going to store our characters in here. So how you can do this is you can create a couple like interfaces and stuff. So if somebody unlocks a character, they can get the game instance, right? You can get game instance, right? That's all you need. And then you can plug in whatever interface it is and you can tell it to add this character to the character selection array, which we're going to make right now. Okay, so we'll make an array, call it characters to select, or characters to choose, we'll call it. Okay, and the type will be the PDA underscore character data. Okay, and then of course we'll come over here and make that an array. Okay, so this is where you can tell it what characters we want. So we can add, you know, 3 characters. This one will be obviously Manny. This one will be Quinn. This one will be TPP. Okay. Let's make another interface and we'll call it, actually we can do it right out of character select, pardon me. So we're going to say get selectable characters, I guess. Okay, and that's going to be an output of characters. We'll just say for the name here, characters, and this will be a PDA underscore character data asset object reference, and we're going to make that an array. And then if you wanted to add characters later on, if they become unlockable or whatever, you just make another one and just say add selectable character, and then you would make an input of a PDA character, and you can do either an array or a single if you can unlock multiple at once or one at a time. Okay, so back in our game instance, we are going to compile. We are going to implement character select into this blueprint here. So we went to class settings, we went to BPI character select, compile. Now we have get selectable characters. We are going to double click on that and we're going to plug in characters to choose from. okay, or choose. So now we can get game instance anywhere in the engine, and we can get the characters to choose anywhere in the engine. Okay, so that's why the game instance is really good for keeping track of just persistent data. So like get experience. You know, I use this in my game for recipes, for crafting. So obviously you start with a certain amount of recipes, and then you find new recipes in the world or learn new recipes or whatever, and then you can add it to the game instance. And then every time I open my crafting menu, it's getting the game instance, pulling the things out, and then populating my UI with that, right? So that's a really handy thing to do inside the game instance here. So, okay, we got characters to choose. We're gonna just get rid of that. So we've told it what characters we want to put in here. And for just the simplicity of this tutorial, we're not gonna do the getting and setting, blah, blah, blah. But that's how you do it, is with the interfaces and the game instance, okay? So let's go back to character select. We're gonna make another variable inside the character select, and it's gonna be called character index. And that'll be an integer. Okay, this will be keeping track of which character we currently have selected. Okay, and that's it for now. In the event graph here, we're going to build off of event begin play to start. We'll get rid of these two. We don't need them, okay? So we need to set our skeletal mesh, the defaults when you start this, right? So we're going to get the skeletal mesh. We're going to set mesh. It'll come up, the one we want. Maybe just set skeletal mesh. Set skeletal mesh asset is the one we want, okay? And we're going to do that. We are going to get, you know what? We're going to create a variable in here for characters. Okay, and we'll make that a same thing, primary data asset, object reference, and then we're going to make that an array, and then we're just going to set that from here. So event begin play, we are going to get game instance, and then we're going to get character, selectable character message, okay? So now this is where we're going to grab our characters. We are going to set that so it can be locally used, okay? And then we are going to, in this case, we're going to get a copy, and we're going to get index 0, which is Manny. If you look back in here, that's the first one we put in here. Oh, we put TPP first. Sorry, Manny. That's what we want. That'd have been confusing later. We're going to plug that into new mesh, and that's going to get us started here. Oh, sorry, did this not work? Oh, right. Sorry, this is a data asset, so you got to actually get the mesh. So we'll drag out of here, and we'll get mesh, or get skeletal. Get skeletal mesh, okay? And that's the data asset that we made where we have our skeletal mesh set, okay? So we're gonna build this character selection where we immediately go to it and we can choose our character, okay? So we're also gonna create a custom event up here, and we're gonna say start character select, okay? And there's a couple things in my notes that we have to do first here. Okay, yeah, so the first thing we got to do is we got to set actor hidden in game, or actually actor tick enabled. That came up first, but we need to do that. We're going to enable tick here, and then we're going to set hidden in game, because we are going to hide this when we're not using it, obviously, right? So hidden is false, and then we're going to plug that into here and start it over, okay? Every time we start this, whether it's when it starts in the world on the event begin play, or we restart it, then we are going to hit start character select. We're going to make sure all this is enabled, then we're going to run all this again, okay? When the game starts, I want to immediately go to this character select so we can select our character. So if that is the case, we are going to get our player controller, okay? We need to set view target with blend. This is how you change cameras in Unreal Engine with static cameras, okay? So this is what you're going to do. It's in the player controller, which I always got confused about. I thought you would drag the camera out and change the viewport or whatever the case is, right? But no, this is the way to do it, okay? So the target is always the player controller. The new view target is the actor that the camera is in. So in this case, this will be self, okay? As long as your actor has a camera, then this should work, okay? The blend time obviously is how long it's going to take to blend to that new camera. I'm just going to put 1 second, and this should be fine as it is, okay? So the reason we're doing this is because if we trigger our character selection, ideally we're already in the camera of the third person character or the first person or whatever it is, right? So we would need to, when we start this, blend to this camera. Okay, so that's how that's gonna work. Okay, let's right click here. We're gonna create, yeah, we're gonna create a widget. We haven't made the widget yet, so why don't we just hit the pause button, and we'll just quickly do that, and we can finish doing all this after. Okay, we're gonna go to the UI. We're gonna make a new user interface widget blueprint, and we'll call it widget blueprint character selection, sure. Okay, we'll open that up. Not terribly complicated. We're gonna get a canvas panel. We want this to be somewhere specific on screen, plus it can have many children. We're gonna get a border. Oh, whoops, C border, that's why it didn't show up. We'll get a border, okay? And for the border, let's anchor it, yeah, we'll anchor it there, and the size, I think we'll do like, I don't know, let's just size it here. So I'll start with that. And then I'm going to add a bunch. Oh yeah, we can't do padding. Anchor this over here. We'll do 100. Okay, we'll do 100 there, and we'll do 100 here. Okay, and then we'll skinny this up. We'll just make it kind of nice looking here. There's not going to be a whole lot of stuff in this. So, okay, so brush color. I'm a big fan of this kind of look here. So we'll do that. Okay, next, let's do a vertical box. Do a vertical box on the canvas panel. I'm sorry, we'll do a vertical box on the border. Okay, and then we're going to add some padding onto that. I think we'll do, did I do 50? I did. Okay, so 50 padding on the inside there. Okay, we're gonna add some text to the vertical box. This will just say character select, or sorry, I'm sorry, select your character. Okay, we'll center that and center it like this, and that looks pretty good. So select your character. Next, we are going to do the thumbnail. So we'll do an image on in the vertical box. We will put this as thumbnail, and we'll make sure that this is a variable, which it is. We're going to center it, and we're going to add some top padding of 50. Okay. For the brush, let's just put like TPP in here, just to have something to reference here. So let's make them smaller. Let's do like 100. Actually, that's fine. That's fine. You can size it however you like, but that's fine. Okay, so we got thumbnail, and then we're going to have another text in our vertical box. And this will be name. We'll center that. And I think we will do some top padding as well. Is 50 too much? Let's do like 20. There. So 20 for the name, and we'll duplicate that. And this will be the ability. Name, ability, and then now we're going to add some buttons. So first we'll add a horizontal box because we'll want all the buttons to be in the same place. Okay, that'll be on the vertical box as well. Okay, so now we'll add a button. Gonna add some text to that button as well. Okay, so we'll rename this button previous, I guess. And this will be previous tech, or previous T for text. Previous. Okay. Let's just quickly edit this button, and then we can basically make it the same for all the other ones. So rounded box, we'll just do a half height radius, and that looks pretty good actually. Okay, for the tint's fine. Everything about this is fine. We will add some top padding to this. 20. Oh, sorry, maybe not to that. Pardon me. We'll do it to the vertical box. Pardon me, the horizontal box. Top padding 20. Okay, a horizontal box we're going to center, and then we're going to set to fill. So what that should do is that every time we add a button, basically spread them out evenly, I believe. If it doesn't work, then I did something wrong, and we'll fix it. All right, so we'll finish with this. I think this is pretty good. So you can hold shift and left click to copy this, and then we'll paste this so it's the exact same for all of them. The only thing we got to change is the tint. For hovered and pressed. Okay, and pressed will be this one. Okay. Great. Now that that's all set up, we're just going to duplicate this 2 times. I did this yesterday, and I can't remember how I did it. Where I had them all individual, like it was told to fill, but it had like it separated all individually, which was really nice. Is that okay? That's how you do it. Okay, sorry. So horizontal box, we have to set to fill, and then I have the fill horizontally and vertically aligned to center, and then for each individual button, I have them centered on both, and then set to fill. That's what we're gonna do here. There we go. That's what we want. Okay, perfect. So, and then obviously this button here, we're going to name to select. I don't even care if it's that name like that. And then next. Okay, and then we just got to edit the text here. This will say select character. Okay. Oof. That should fill. Don't know why it's not filling. Or can I just lower the font on this? Select character 17. That looks pretty good. Okay, and then this, we're going to have it say next. Okay. All right. So after all that's done, then we can do some scripting in this afterwards. Make sure all these are variables that need to be variables. Yes. These 2 need to be variables. This is what we want our thing to look like. It looks pretty good. So, okay, let's hit compile. Let's go back to our character selection, and we'll just do this now. Widget blueprint character selection. Okay. We're going to promote that to a variable. We're going to call this the selection widget. Okay, we're going to drag this out, and we're going to get it, and we'll convert it to a validate get. Okay, and then if it's not valid, we're going to create the widget. If it is valid, we are going to not create the widget and just add it to viewport. Okay, so we're going to add to viewport. Okay, after this point, we are going to get the character selection widget once again. And we are going to set character data message. We're going to send the data over of Manny. So we're going to get our characters once again. We're going to get a copy, and we're going to plug this right in because it's a data asset, right? Okay, so now we're going to send to our UI all the data that we need for our current character, which is going to be Manny by default. Okay, after that, we got to get our player controller once again here, and this is where we're going to set all of the UI stuff. So we're going to get player controller. We're going to set show mouse cursor. And we'll plug that in right here. And we are going to show the mouse cursor, and then we're going to set set input mode to UI only. Okay, so then we will have control of our mouse. We won't be able to move our characters around. It'll be super great. One thing we didn't do in our widget here is click on the main thing here and make sure that this is focusable. Okay, that means we can our widget can focus on it, and it can accept some mouse inputs there. So anyways, we will select or take our selection widget, and we will plug that in right here in the widget to focus on. Okay, perfect. Okay, that's all set up. Let's work on the actual switching of the characters. Okay, so we are going to make two custom events, one called next character and another custom event called previous character. Okay, we'll start with next character because this one's easier. We are going to take our character index, and we're going to get it, and we're going to ++. Okay, that'll increase it by 1 and then set it. Okay, and then obviously we only have 3 characters to choose from. So once this goes above index 2, then there's nothing there. So we need to have a way for it to loop back. So what we're going to do for that, we are going to get our characters. Okay, and we are going to get the length. Okay, this will tell Unreal Engine how long this array is, which is this will be 3, but we need it to be -1 here. Okay, subtract and get -1 because 0 is included in our index, but in this length it's not. It starts at 1. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna minus it by 1. Then we're gonna grab this. We're gonna check if it's greater than the length of this index. Okay, so index is 3 long. We -1, so it's 2. So if this adds 1 and this comes through here and it checks and it sees that this is equals 3 and this is 2, that means that this is true. Okay, that means that we're at the end of our index and we should go back to the beginning. So now we're just going to set our character index to 0. Okay, so yeah, we'll set our character index to 0. That'll take us back to the beginning. All right, so after that, we are going to get our characters, and we're going to get them again, and we are going to plug in our character index. And then that way we will always have the correct one. All right, so the next node we need to get our skeletal mesh, and we need to set skeletal mesh asset. Okay, right into there, and then we just need to, for false, we just need to bypass this select character thing here. Okay, and let's plug this into here to keep it neat. Perfect. Okay, so this is where we're going to just get skeletal mesh and then plug this right in here. Okay, so whatever character index that we're on right now, then we're going to plug that in and we're going to get that particular skeletal mesh. Okay, following that, we are going to get our selection widget, and we are going to set set character data, and we are going to plug into that from here, and then we are going to just plug this data asset in because that's what we need to send over there, right? So okay, so that's how you do for front ways. For backwards, slight difference in this one. We're gonna get this again, this length -1, so we're just gonna copy this. Okay, down here. We need to get the character index. Get the character index. We need to clamp this so it doesn't go below 0. Okay. Yeah, then we'll plug in our length into the max. So yeah, we don't want this to go below 0 because obviously then we'll miss some of the checks that we're gonna do here in a second. But first thing we need to do is we need to come out of here. Equals 0. Okay, does our index equal 0? Okay, if it does, then we're going to set our character index as this. Okay, which is the length -1, which is the last index in our array, right? Because we're going to loop back to the beginning, or to the end, pardon me. Okay, if we aren't equaling 0, that means we're in the middle of our array and we have more characters to cycle through. So all we're going to do is take the character index and we're going to minus here. Okay. So yeah, remember up here we added beforehand, but here if you do that, it causes some issues. So where the character index won't ever be the right one you want. So this is why we got to do it this way. Alrighty. Next we're gonna get pretty much this exact thing once again. So we're just gonna copy this. Okay, we'll move that down here. plug this in. Actually, let's do this one first. Something like that. And then plug this into there. Perfect. And then this will plug right into there. All right, that should be it for there. Okay, and then one final custom event here called selected. Okay, so we're gonna call this in our widget when we have selected a character. We're gonna do a delay, and this delay is just gonna buy us some time because when we select a character, we don't want the character select to like disappear instantly. We want the camera to like kind of blend away from it before we make it disappear. So let's just do like 0.3 or something like that, and then we're going to set actor tick enabled to false, and we're gonna set hidden in game to hidden. Okay, and sorry, let's make sure. Yeah, okay, good. Those are the right ones. So yeah, that's all we're gonna do for the selected. Okay, we can actually check and make sure that this works. Right now, we will have to open our player character, third person character. Oh, that's the character selection. Sorry, I was like, why are you not opening? Anyways, third person character. We're just gonna create a couple of debug keys, num1 and num2. Okay, and you know, we're just gonna get actor of class on this, and we are going to do the BP character selection. Okay, and I'm just going to duplicate that and put it down here. Get actor of class, and then we're going to call next, or sorry, this will be previous character. This will be next character. So this is the first test to make sure that our stuff actually works. Okay, we'll hit compile. We will hit play, and you can see that our camera automatically zoomed to this, which is great. However, it should be showing us our skeletal mesh characters, which it's not. So this is access none trying to read a get item array skeletal mesh asset. Let's see where this is failing here. Must not be getting the characters out of here. Let's check it out here. So we'll hit play, and game instance 1. Interesting. So it's not actually getting the data from our game instance. Okay, let's check it out here. So we do have data in here. I know we have to set this somewhere. So I was kind of thinking about that earlier because in the game mode there's nothing in there, and I was like, I thought we had to set this somewhere. It might be in our project settings, to be honest. So let's go. I think it's maps and modes. Here it is. Game instance class. We got to set that to GIR game. Okay. Now that should work. All right. So now that we've changed our game instance, we're gonna hit play, and now our thing goes right to our character. We can select them. The buttons aren't going to do anything yet because we haven't actually scripted them yet, but we can push 1 and 2 to change it. We should be able to push 1 and 2 to change our character. Unless, oh, it's set to UI only, so maybe not. So that's fine. We'll just get the buttons working, and then we'll make that all work out fine. So we almost got this done here, but what's going to really sell this UI and character selection system is really good sound effects and music, and that's why I want to tell you guys about Epidemic Sound. Epidemic Sound has a royalty-free music and sound effects library with over 40,000 tracks and 90,000 sound effects. No need to worry about licensing, as Epidemic Sound offers commercial licenses. You can search by emotion and mood, publish anywhere online, and with my link in the description below, you can get a 30-day free trial of Epidemic Sound. And if you guys sign on for another month after that, then that directly supports the channel. So with literally no risk, you guys can try out Epidemic Sound for 30 days and get some sound effects and music for your games. Let's finish up this system. First, let's implement that. Sorry, drag this over here so we can all see. First, we need to go to our class settings, and we need to implement that interface, which is character select. Hit compile. We need to implement set character data. Okay, so we're gonna delete these. I don't think we need them. Oh, we're gonna use event construct. On event construct, we're gonna get actor of class, and that's gonna be our BP select. Okay. Oops. BP character select. We'll promote that to a variable, and we'll call this character select. Okay, that's all we need to do on event construct. Okay, for select new data, we are going to get a sequence because it gets kind of ugly, and we'll add 3 pins. We're going to get our thumbnail. We're going to get our. Oh, we should have renamed the text blocks so that they're, you know, name and name for sure, and ability. Okay, so now we know what they are. There they are. So we'll get our name and we'll get our ability, and I think that's it. That's it. Okay, so first things first, we are going to get the thumbnail. We're going to set texture, set brush from texture. Okay, let's promote this to a variable too. Promote this to a variable. We'll call it character data asset. Love it. Okay, so we'll set that, and then now we can get our character data asset here. we can get thumbnail. And we'll set that right here. Okay. Oh, is this not the right type of thing? Texture 2D, and what is this? Just a texture? Okay, we got to change that, pardon me. It shouldn't be too much work because it's technically still a texture. So we're going to our primary data asset, and we'll change this to a texture 2D object reference. Compile, and just gonna open up one of these and make sure it didn't change it. It didn't. Okay, great. So don't have to worry about that now. So let's go back to our this, and so now we'll plug our thumbnail into our thumbnail, and we're done. Okay, match size. Let's check that true. That just changes the size of the image based on each individual image's size. So it overrides the image size. So next we got our name. So we're going to set text. Okay, and we'll plug then one into there. We need to format text because we want it to say name, semicolon, and then in those weird squiggly brackets, we'll just say name. Okay, and then that opens up this. Okay, and then we will get name. Plug that in. Done. Ability, same thing. Set text. I'm gonna format the text. We'll plug then 2 into here as well. And then this will be ability, semicolon, and then squiggly brackets, ability, squiggly brackets. We'll get the asset, get ability. Okay, so that's how easy it is just to basically, you know, plug all this data into the UI. You just need to create stuff and then just get the data asset and then pull all the data out and plug it in, right? So not that hard. Okay, so that's the set character data part of it. Okay, however, for the other part of it, which is going to be the buttons, we'll do some new stuff here. Okay, so let's click on our buttons. So we'll do previous, on clicked, next, on clicked, and select, on clicked. Okay, so we'll get all 3 of these. Previous, all we're doing is we're going to get the character select, and we're going to call that event previous character. Okay, that's easy. Same thing with this, but for next character. Those are done. That was easy. Character select. A little bit more we got to do on that one. Okay, actually, to be honest, the proper way to do this actually would be with an interface. So why don't we do it the proper way so I don't teach you guys bad stuff. So we will make, character select. Perfect. We'll open that up and we'll make a new function. We'll call it character selected. Okay, and then we will do the character data. Okay. Yes, and then we'll make that the PDA underscore or whatever the hell character data object reference. Okay, so then we'll hit compile. We'll go into our third person character. We'll implement that interface once again so that we can access it. I passed it, sorry, it's up here. API character select. Okay, we'll hit compile. We will go to that interface and we'll implement character selected, and then yeah, we'll take the character data. We'll get the skeletal mesh, and then if you had your animation blueprint class or whatever that you wanted, you would put that in your data asset as well, right? Yeah, I don't have it open right now, but yeah, you'd put it in your character data asset as well, okay? And then you'd pull that out and you'd say get your character animation, whatever the hell, right? So here we're just gonna get the mesh. We're gonna set skeletal mesh asset and plug this in, and that's all you would have to do there. Inside the widget blueprint, instead of doing this, you would delete this and you would get player character and character selected message, okay? And then plug your data asset in here because it'll be the most current one, right? So, okay, one more thing we got to do in the players. We got to get the third person character once again, and we need to get player controller. And then we need to set view target with blend. We need to blend back to our player camera once we've selected our character. Okay, so we'll new view target will be self, and blend time will do 1 second again. Okay, okay, and then back in our widget, we're going to call the event from our character select, which is selected or whatever it was called. Selected, right? That'll disable this blueprint and blah blah blah, disable the tick and all that kind of stuff, right? Okay, we could also get actor of class, or pardon me, we get the player controller in the widget here. We need to set show mouse cursor to false, and we need to set the input mode back to game only. Okay, right up here. and we'll flush the input as well here. Finally, we are going to drag out of here and remove from parent. So we'll remove this widget from the screen. And that, ladies and gentlemen, I believe is it. We'll just test it out, make sure it works. So there's our Manny mannequin. Okay, and as you can see, this guy looks like an Oompa Loompa, except yellow. And the reason he looks like this is because the animation blueprint obviously is for the Manny and Quinn mannequins and not for this guy, clearly. Wait till you see him walk around. It's freaking hilarious. It just looks so funky. I love it. But anyways, we've created our character select. We've selected our character. Even though if he does look like an Oompa Loompa, it's who we wanted. So we can also just quickly do a debug thing here in our player. So we'll just get rid of this guy. And instead of previous character, we're just going to start character select, right? So this is if you are to enter the character selection screen again. This would trigger, and it's going to trigger all of this stuff to happen again. So we're going to set it all, blah, 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 blah. Get our character, set it as Manny, set the skeletal mesh as Manny, and then we're going to blend to the camera. This will already exist, so this will be valid. It'll just add it to viewport and then set all this stuff, and it's starting all over again, right? So we'll just test that out here. So we'll start with Manny. Here's Manny, and then we'll push 1, and we're going to blend back to our guy, and we're going to go and be old Yeller now. And now we're old Yeller. Woo! Super dumb. And now we want to be Quinn. Right? There you go. Character selection complete. There you guys have it. You have a character selection system in your game now. And I hope to see you guys next Saturday when I live stream the next system. It's a lot of fun. I also give lots of great tips about Unreal Engine 5 in those live streams and answer any of your questions that come in. But if you want to keep learning, click on those videos there. Special thanks to my coffee members, of course. If you want to become a coffee member and support the channel, check out the link in the description below, and we'll see what works for you. But otherwise, keep learning till you game over. Peace.